Welcome to the Crack House Chronicles, your favorite true crime podcast. I am Donnie, and with me is a man that wants everyone to know it's 2024, and there's still no cure for WrestleMania. It's Dale.
Oh, what do you mean a cure? You can't fix greatness.
Oh, is it greatness?
It is.
Oh, man.
I ain't never been. I can't afford it. Anybody go and want to send me a ticket, I appreciate it.
Well, you done some wrestling this weekend, didn't you?
Yeah, I had big fun this weekend.
Yeah, you went to a wrestling
Went
convention.
to the Gathering 5 in Charlotte, the big convention down there.
Yeah?
Yeah, it was great. Yeah,
Cool.
had a blast. Got a fork in the head from Abdullah the Butcher, so that's always good.
Well, you got to have a fork in the head from Abdul the Butcher.
Hey, daggum right.
I mean, that's not an everyday thing.
You got to get it going, man.
What's going on today, dude?
You know, same old,
Oh,
man.
yeah, same old, same old. I love it.
All right,
Back in the
man.
Crack House,
Yes,
doing an
sir.
episode.
Flying home to get ready to do this episode.
Man.
But we got good news.
Dude.
Hey, look at that. We have a brand new Apple Podcast 5-star review, and this comes from Chelsea Craig 16, I guess that is CHELSEAC KRIG 16.
Craig.
Well, yeah, whatever. We'll go with that. Anyway, we get to the good part. Just kidding. One of the absolute best, and best is in all caps, Donnie.
Man.
Donnie and Dale have a great dynamic and cover a multitude of cases with respect and humor. Their continuous coverage of the Asia degree case is my favorite part. Love them! !
Well,
Man, thanks so much for taking the time to do that. That is amazing. Thanks so much. That is an incredible review.
it is a credible review.
We might have to print it out now, too.
You have to print that out and
I
put it
think
on
we
the
got
wall.
to just print them all out.
Put them all out. Make some wallpaper out of
It's
them.
awesome,
Yeah.
dude. Yeah. Yeah, thanks so much for taking the time to do that. It really helps us out, and then it'll help one more person find us. That'll be great.
Yep, sure will.
Especially since we're absolute best.
Yeah,
Or something.
in capital letters.
Whatever I said. Yeah.
We're the best in capital letters.
That's right.
Yeah, no, there's small letters.
We ain't playing around with lowercase mess.
Yeah. That's it. If anybody else wants to be like Chelsea Creek, go to Apple Podcasts, leave a 5-star, you can.
And we appreciate you, too.
Yeah, you can go to the website. You can click on the store page, get you something cool to wear.
Get some cool stuff, man.
And we don't say this a lot, but you can leave a 5-star rating on Spotify, and it does help, too.
It does.
It really does.
You can let
But
us know
there's
what
no
you
way
think.
to really leave a review, but you can comment on each episode.
Right. Yeah, there is a star rating. There's no review rating, but you can, like you say, leave what you think about the thing.
About the episode, yeah. Which is pretty neat.
Yeah, it is cool.
Nice little feature, because a lot of the podcast apps doesn't do anything like that.
Yeah, I
So,
wish it would give us a notification.
Yeah.
That would be even better.
Yeah, you just have to sort of check it.
So if you do one, send us a message so we
Yeah.
can look at it.
Yeah, be cool.
Groovy.
Well, other than that, dude, we're going to take a short break, and when we get back, we're going to get into this episode, dude.
Sweet.
Okay, Dale, you know on July 13th of this year, 2024,
Yep.
former President Donald Trump, there was an assassination attempt on his life.
He sure was.
There in Butler, Pennsylvania.
Right.
And since then, you know, it's been in the news, and there's been a lot of talk about the coverage, who was responsible for what levels of security they had there.
There's a whole lot of finger pointing going on. kinda.
Yeah, who does what, you know, all this stuff.
Yeah.
And we have questions on it. And today, we've got our good buddy, friend of ours, friend of the show.
Friend of the show.
He's been on before. He's been here talking about Asia degree and some other things. But he's back with us.
Got on a different hat. I bet he's got 2 closets full of hats.
He probably does. He probably does. But he's been on detail for some former executives, presidential detail that's come to North Carolina, and he's helped with those. And he knows some of the inner workings of how the Secret Service works with local law enforcement.
Or should.
Yeah. He's going to tell us all about it today. So, David James, welcome to the show, bud.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Doing well, man. Doing well.
Hope you are.
Still kicking, man.
Sweet.
Still kicking.
So I've introduced you. You know, we've talked about Asia degree before, but you know, you've done a lot of stuff in your career, man. I mean, a lot.
And now kicking off a brand new career as a private investigator.
He does. He is a private investigator.
Yeah,
We'll
man.
throw up some of that stuff on our stuff and give you a little shout out there.
That's it. But you've done detail work for Secret Service and other law enforcement agencies when they've come to North Carolina. But tell us some background you have on with that kind of stuff, David.
Yeah, you know, I've been in law enforcement. I had been over 40 years working at Kannapolis PD in North Carolina, working in Belmont and Gaston County, and you know, over 40 years. So, you know, working the first time that I worked any with the Secret Service on a presidential detail, And this was a presidential detail in 1992 with H.W. Bush in the election year when he was running against Bill Clinton.
Mm-hmm.
In 1992, they were doing a whistle stop thing on a train coming into Cabarrus County, and he had a speaking engagement up in Kannapolis where the train was going to stop, and he was going to get off there at the square and do a speech.
So what was your responsibility that day when he came into town?
Well, I bet the train probably throws a
bet it
loop
did.
into the security detail there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, it started about 2 weeks prior to that. I was just a sergeant, and I was assigned to the counter sniper team.
Ooh.
We heard a lot about those over the last couple
have.
weeks
Yeah.
about the shooting in Pennsylvania, but I was assigned to them, just helping them with their locations around town, their setup, their getting them oriented with the town and stuff. So they do these advances way ahead, and just getting to get a counterpart in those local agencies with that partnership you build, and you develop that, and that's the way the Secret Service. The times I've worked with them, and I have some friends that worked with the Secret Service and retired and are back in local law enforcement now. So, at that deal, it was a big deal stop where he was going to get off the train, do a speech. So, there was a lot of security in place because he is the president of the United States.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So when they came into town early, like you guys, like scouting locations and that kind of thing?
Yeah.
Right.
They have an advance team that comes in. They
Right.
make contact with the local teams. And I'm not an expert at this. This is what I know from just my local workings with them.
Well, you're a lot closer to an expert than we are.
And, they come in, talk to you. They do site preparation about where they're going to put stuff. Back in that time, and still was a big thing about car bombs. If you remember back in that time frame in 1992. So about blocking off roadways, making safe zones, and then, position their people, which the Secret Service, their main mission, and they have different teams. And the team that you see with the president, like when President Trump got shot, the people who come up on stage, that's his protective team, and their job is to protect him and get him evacuated from the area. They're not going to stand and fight. They're going to get him evacuated and out of there. And then you're going to see the guys that come up that look like maybe in SWAT gear and stuff like that. That's the counterattack team. That's the team that's going to come in and take out the threat, or the counter sniper teams. So, they have to have all these people in place. And a lot of times local law enforcement, they fill holes in the outer perimeter security and plugging holes because there are only a limited number of Secret Service people,
Yeah.
Right.
So what is the communication like between local law enforcement and the Secret Service?
Well, back in the day, the first time I did it in 1992, you had a command post set up, and this is, before 9/11, we had what we call radio inoperability. That means we couldn't talk to each other,
Mm-hmm.
So what you did is you had a command post location set up, and you had everybody who had a piece of the pie had a person with a radio sitting in that room. And it's not like, if something happened at a location, Kannapolis police officer called into the communications center on his radio, which is sent right beside the Secret Service people that relayed that information real time, so you didn't have that delay in getting to the right people.
Yeah.
So, but now, we have all these radio systems. After 9/11, that was a big thing about radio inoperability. They couldn't talk to each other,
Mm-hmm.
like the fire, police, EMS, and stuff. So we got all these 900 channels now that you can talk to each other, but still, the Secret Service, they're going to have their own channel, which is encrypted. You can't copy, you can't monitor anything for the right reason.
Yeah, it makes sense.
But you still got to have those people sitting in the rooms or that radio information that you can get real time back to the people in the field that you don't have a delay in action like may have happened in Pennsylvania.
So basically, if a local guy was going to radio in, he'd have to radio to the tent. The guy in the tent would have to look over at the Secret Service guy and tell him, and then he'd have to get on his radio and tell them.
Right. Instead of, we're doing text messaging now.
Right.
We're sending pictures by text. We're doing there are all ways of communication, but you got to ensure that if it all goes to heck in a handbasket, that you can get that information relayed,
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So you said you guys, the local law enforcement, done the perimeter. How is that working for you guys when you spot somebody that's sort of suspicious hanging out or sort of out of place? How do y'all?
It was set up. We usually I can remember back. This is 1992. Is like the outer perimeter set up, and at that time, we had we're integrated with Secret Service people too.
Okay.
And we got to remember this is a presidential detail. So you're going to have all the bells and whistles with the president, and because he's the president of the United States. And like with the people who are past presidents and people who are running for president, and they get presidential details, they may not get all the bells and whistles, which I think you're going to find out later on maybe in this investigation. But, like we've seen in the media, not being throwing politics into this, is like, President Trump probably has more threats than President Biden or whoever, let's say X and Y.
Right. Yeah.
If X has more threats, you probably need to put some more stuff with him,
Yeah.
But, you would integrate people together, and, if it's outside the perimeter, a lot of time local people would, we would check this. But, also the Secret Service, and this is nothing top secret, they have counterintelligence people that are out in the outer perimeter, and I think that you're going to look at this location up there, did they have counterintelligence? Counterintelligence people, they're going to be out there. They're going to be dressed like the regular Joe. You're not going to see them with the earpiece. You're not even going to know they're there. Were those people there? Were they even used at that event?
Mm-hmm.
And it just depends. I mean, it's a team effort because the Secret Service has to have local agencies help because they just don't have enough people to go around. My understanding with talking to somebody last week, and I can't honestly say, but the Secret Service is down about 1,700 people.
Wow.
But that isn't like law enforcement too. Law enforcement across the United States is down too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's hard to hire people, and then that makes it hard to staff positions because a friend of mine, he's retired from a local agency. He was with the Secret Service, and he was stationed in a different state, and he had to travel a lot. My man worked out of he told me he had 3 suitcases, and he had 3 small kids at home, his wife, and he did that for several years, and he ended up moving back home because it was killing him and his family,
Right.
because of the travel time and stuff like that they put on their people.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's demanding. I watched a thing on that the other day, and they're talking about how everybody wanted to do that because it's like the elite of the elite, They put at the top, or it should be, what you're shooting for to be at the top. He said, but once you get there and realize what it is, I mean, you're there all the time. You don't matter a weekend, holiday, because that's your job now, and that's what they were saying. It was so hard to keep people there a long time because it's so demanded, and it basically just, you didn't have nothing but that. There was no other life, basically.
Yeah, but, the key is working together, just like the Kannapolis deal. I mean, the president stops, he gets out, he does his speech, he's in and out, he moves on to a different point. So everywhere he stops along the line, they've got to be in advance, they've got to be that cooperation with local agencies. So, that's got to be something you have to foster with local agencies over the years,
Yeah. So you said you guys will help, a few weeks in advance before an event takes place. Correct. When that place is notified that, let's say, the president's coming to town and work detail is taking place on this area, is it monitored the whole time beforehand, or is it lax in between? Or,
we're doing our stuff, but the local agencies, our big deal is trying to get manpower together to staff traffic checkpoints, outside perimeter stuff. I'm sure the Secret Service is doing some things that we don't even know about.
mm-hmm.
And we tell our guys, or told our guys, to be vigilant, in the area. But they have their game plan, we have ours, which is two separate objectives. But there is more vigilance in those areas, at that time.
Mm-hmm. I just didn't know what the Secret Service were telling you guys, local law enforcement, what to be doing beforehand, before the event takes place.
Yeah,
monitoring
well,
the area.
Make sure to sanitize, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'll come in and ask you, say, who are all the nuts in town? I'm serious. And, I'll never forget one time in Kannapolis, we had a guy who had written President Reagan a letter, threatening a letter. And do you have this guy? So, one of our investigators knew this guy. Said, hey, we have David James. He was in prison for threatening Ronald Reagan. Well, they had a name, file, so, I think he got a visit the day the president came,
No, yeah, I bet. No. Mm-hmm.
And one of those deals. So, they were looking for that and some intel that's going on, and your local people. But you look at the shooting up there in Pennsylvania, that was if you can take a 20-year-old kid and he can get that close to a foreign president and get shot and kill some people like that, what do you think that a terrorist or all these people coming across the border that we have over the years could do if they really wanted to do something?
Yeah, or somebody was like elitely trained,
Yeah.
Right. If you had one of these Green Beret people, let's say.
Right.
I'm using that as not down them, because my uncle was a Green Beret guy.
A Rambo type fella.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just think about that.
So you've watched the Trump attempted assassination on TV, and I'm sure you've dealt and dug into it. What did you find out, and what have you noticed from that attempted assassination? Some of the breakdowns.
And I'm not an expert at it, but just looking at it, the line of sight deal from where the shooter was to where the speaker was. I've worked these events, and that's the big thing they try to do, is block the line of sight. Even if it's putting up a big flag, putting up a container, doing something to block the line of sight to, from where the X is, where the podium is, to that. I mean, that's a clear shot from where my man was,
That's why they bring in those big cranes and hang those flags up and all that stuff.
To block the line of sight, because you can't see.
Yeah, because I've seen some people said that they should have done that in front of that building, right? Mm-hmm. But it's all, hindsight's 20/20. But go ahead. Sorry, Dave, I mean to cut you off.
I mean, just me is that. And then, even just being a rookie cop or a rookie military guy, the person who's got the high ground, they have the advantage.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, I have no understanding of why somebody was not on that roof. You hear all that stuff about, well, it was too hot. Well, it sucks to be you. You need to be on top of the roof.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is, it don't matter whose assignment that was. It could have been a local department, it could have been a state department, whatever. The Secret Service is responsible for the whole event. So if they check their post and they see that somebody's not on the roof,
mm-hmm.
at that place, they need to put somebody up there. To me, that's the high ground is the giveaway. To me, I mean, that's just a no-brainer.
So we, in our research, we saw a thing where, and I don't know if this is true or not, and you might know, and I don't know, But they said usually when you look at their perimeter, it's a big circle around the protector, whatever you call it, whatever they're protecting is in the center. They said this one, though, came around and it was more like a Pac-Man shaped, where it had the place was cut out, and that building was inside that place that weren't part of their secure detail. And they were saying it was a funding reason, which does not make any sense at all to me.
I don't know. I know they work, doing protectees and doing executive protection and stuff like that. Work off the layer system. You do layers of protection.
Right.
Your outer perimeter, and you do the middle and the inner perimeter and things. So, on the outer perimeter, you still have the people out there, and you think about it, with a AR type rifle or whatever, look at my man. He didn't have that technical of gear to make that shot either,
Right.
And so to me, that line of sight and that perimeter, it's always like I tell people in crime scenes. When you get to a crime, you want to make sure that you expand the crime scene as far as you think you need to go, because you always can reduce the size of it.
Yeah,
Does that make any sense?
Yeah, you
definitely.
can't broad out.
You can't broad it out. That's like, to me, on something like this, you want to expand it as big as you think you need to have it or more. And then if you see when you're getting in your planning stage that, hey, we can shrink it a little bit, it's easier to shrink it than it is to get there that day and say, hey, we need to expand it,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I thought it was odd that they said, that, and I don't know if it's true that it actually was left out of the so-called secure zone, but I did see that. And another thing, and I'm sure you watched the videos, but when that guy's they see him, and I was watching this thing, and they got camera on the guy crawling up the building, and he's screaming, and the guy's going to go get cops, and it's like nobody's paying attention. It just blew my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, it's like you have the people who's yelling at some police or whatever, so, you got some kind of communication issues, so, but if you saw the one video that came out this past week, where it was taken by one of the people who got shot, you can see the guy crawling across the roof, and it's like, 3 or 4 minutes before the shots were actually fired. And it's from the crowd. So, we missing something,
Yeah, definitely. And
and
like when you watch those videos, of course, the one I was talking about, where it's like some guy in the crowd and they're filming him and he's showing his little boy. It's like, look, and they could see him crawling up the building. They're like, this guy don't need to be up there because he had on regular clothes. And then he said that at first you couldn't really see nothing. He was just kind of shimmying up the top of already on top of the roof. But then he said when he tried to move over, he kind of rolled, and that's when they saw the rifle. Then it's him and his son both at the same time said, "Whoa, this ain't good." But but we don't really know from watching, because it's just clip after clip, or rerun the same clip over and over while they're talking over it. So you don't really know what the time span is from when they first seen him to the shots start. So that's the only thing you kind of lose on that kind of stuff.
Right, and the key is the Congress, when they're investigating this, is get the radio communications and stuff like that. And but you look at it, was the radio I'm sure that the local agencies are going to have the radio communication between themselves that are recorded, but was the Secret Service recording their radio communications?
Right. Yeah, probably not.
And, and that about, there's things where, supposedly the local law enforcement guy saw him, and they tried to relay that information, and then, the shots was fired. But also, they had been looking for this guy for several minutes before they even sent the president out,
Yeah, crazy.
So, and my experience in dealing with these presidential visits, they have a holding room, and that's where they stay until they get ready to go out. And it's there for their comfort and also security. So if they have an issue or weather or anything like that, they stay in the holding room until that's taken care of. So, if you think you got somebody out there roaming around and you've lost sight of him, why do you even let my man go out there?
Correct.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's Trump, Biden, whoever.
Yeah,
or
anybody.
me.
Right.
Why you let somebody go out there?
Yeah. Stop the event until something's found.
Yeah, hold him up. But he's not out there yet. Just hold on. Give us another 30 minutes. We need to find this guy. I was walking around with a rangefinder a while ago. And,
Correct.
and now I looked up and he's gone, which is another thing that blows my mind. I mean, how does that happen?
Yeah, and the key is going to be, for the Congress to get all the information and stuff, and then you have the locals and the Secret Service. I think you may have seen on TV that one of the SWAT teams for the county came out and said, "Hey, we were supposed to meet face to face with one of the counter sniper teams, and that meeting never happened."
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where, every event that I've worked, we've had that face-to-face meeting with people with Secret Service. I mean, it's been excellent. And the communications, but, is it because, the times have changed, they just don't have the personnel, and,
I think both.
I think you've seen maybe the whole law enforcement spectrum in the United States, whatever it is, from federal to state to local. Is it our requirements or stuff like that? Are we sort of reducing that just to get people, or what?
Right. Yes. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did see something else or I heard something because we've listened to a lot and read a lot, but where they were talking about that they never even got their meeting, and some of the talking heads were like, listen, when it's done this, they should at least been a meeting in the morning, one middle of the day, and one right before the event. And at least that, and they said it was supposed to get a big meeting, like you said, and it never happened. They never got, so it was like they weren't talking at all.
Yeah,
That's all.
they talk about, too, about the radio communication. That's where, if you have this event going on, you got to have this pre-plan, and you got to have these pre-meetings, you got to have that advance, and all that together, so that, let's say, hey, the local guy saw the guy, let's say it goes to heck in a handbasket, but you got that guy in the comm center, which is just a radio on his channel that can say, hey, there's a guy climbing up the building at so-and-so, and he can sit there and tell the Secret Service guy face to face, hey, we got a problem at this building.
Yeah.
So, that ain't rocket scientist stuff, guys.
Right, and if nothing else, they could pull him down right then and go, listen, well, we got a problem.
Right, we got a problem, stand by.
I mean, yeah, because I watched the documentary the other night, and it was pretty good, but they talked to one police officer, and I guess he was from the area, and they asked him why they didn't do anything, and he goes, why? What do you mean shoot the guy? And he goes, it's a open carry state. I can't do nothing. You can't shoot a guy because he got a gun. I mean, the guy was kind of being a smart ass, to tell you the truth, the police officer on there, because the guy was just asking him questions, but what is the deal with that? I mean, I know what he's trying to say, but he's leaving out the part that this guy's crawling up the damn roof with the rifle pointed at the guy. You know what I mean?
Right. And in any situation, you heard, too, that they had to get permission, the sniper team had to get permission to shoot negative. That's not right.
Okay,
Their rule is engagement is just like a regular police officer.
Okay, now let me ask you this.
If a police officer stops a car and a guy pulls a gun on him, and he is in fear of his life or he's threatening somebody, he don't have to call his sergeant to shoot this guy.
Right.
The sniper's engagement is if he can articulate that guy's a threat, he can take him out right then.
Right. I saw that they are the only agency, that does not have I have to ask, have a total green light.
Yeah,
I also heard that some of these snipers there were police snipers and weren't Secret Service snipers.
Correct. My understanding was there were maybe a couple there that was not Secret Service, but that may happen due to staffing issues with the Secret Service.
True. Yeah, because I also heard that a lot of the agents, even the ones on the stage, weren't real Secret Service. They were just kind of playing the part. You heard anything about that?
I think that the people around the President Trump, I think it's going to be most of them are going to be as protective detail, but a lot of them are supplemented by like Homeland Security agents,
right,
and things like that. That when you've got all these protectees that they have to cover the Secret Service. You got former presidents to take people,
First ladies, etc.
first ladies. You got all, you got the people who are running for president. And, finally they gave Robert Kennedy protection after this.
Yeah.
I mean, where did that come from? Why didn't they give him protection to start with?
Yeah, he should have had it from the get-go, yeah.
Especially with his history of family.
Look at his family history, you know?
Yeah.
So, we don't want to get into a political thing, but look, I mean, that don't even make sense to me.
Right.
But, and then we talk about the air stuff, about airplanes and drones and things like that. Is, the events that I've worked that, the air space is closed in the presidential events where, there's bigger planes flying up there you don't see, the eye does not see, that are up there flying around protecting the president, and it's closed airspace. So if a plane gets off track, the FAA and the Secret Service, they're going to get that plane out of that airspace. And also about the drones and stuff. Drones have been in. How long has drones been around? They've been around for 10 years or so.
10 or more, yeah.
Yeah, something like
that. And
the high-tech ones anyway, yeah.
Yeah, look what they're doing with the drones in Ukraine.
Yeah.
They're dropping bombs and hand grenades and stuff from them. And, and there's some information about this kid, the 20-year-old, had a drone up maybe that morning before the event in the area.
Checking the area out.
Which should have never happened.
Doing his own surveillance.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of failures and a lot of finger pointing, but, the mission of the Secret Service is to protect the president. All these other people help,
Right.
And, it's like the 9/11 thing, different agencies didn't talk to each other. And, we thought we had that cured. But, it looks like there's, there's a lot of field agents, just like the FBI, Secret Service, whoever you want to throw out there. But when you get the talking heads of the group, your leader can make your agency a disaster.
Yeah.
Yeah, seen that.
Yeah, this was like a major breakdown from the get-go, David. So what? Go ahead.
It really concerns me about the planning and the staffing and who's controlling that, in the Secret Service, because somebody's got to be, these things are planned out. The president's schedule, it's planned out months in advance. Where he's going, where he's doing. So they've got people doing advances, and even the people who are running for president, the candidates, their stuff are planned out, and they have these advance teams and stuff. So do they have the assets to do the correct stuff, to do the right planning, and then staff them,
Mm-hmm. What is your opinion on the Secret Service who got up on the stage with former President Trump and were protecting him with their bodies, and they stood there for a while? They've had a lot of criticism about that they should have just whipped him up by the belt loops and just drug him off the stage. And then there's
except the ones that were hiding behind him.
Yeah.
Well, opinions are like what everybody else has.
Right.
We all have one. So, but all I know about protecting people is, you need the people the same size as your person you're protecting to stand up, because, when he stood up some, I mean, he was an open target if you had another shooter somewhere.
Yes.
I mean, you got some short people. He's a big guy,
Yes.
And if they got to be able, just like me, if I get shot, I don't care if you're male, female, whatever, got one eye. If you got to be able to drag my butt out of the line of fire and get me away,
Yeah,
true.
And that's a decision. I think there was some confusion there, but that detail that got up on the stage, they got him down and protected him. But they had to make a call about to evacuate him out of there, get him out, and really, I guess, we armchair quarterback. We're sitting armchair quarterback
sure.
and everything. And, but, the deal is that sometimes you got to scoop and run, and do that. And the protection detail, they protected him, but I'm just glad it wasn't somebody else he had that when he was open there for a little bit that took another shot at him,
Oh, exactly. So you're pretty much in the mindset that this perimeter should have been more guarded around the whole venue.
Oh, yeah. I think it should have been more. They should have had a drone. They got drones up. They also talk about local agencies said they were going to said they would put their drones up, but the Secret Service said, "Nah, we won't use it." And to me is, it's like I heard somebody say that, hey, let me get my kid's drone. I could have had it up,
Yeah.
And the technology, and I heard a guy talking about technology about the Secret Service was not. I heard him talking about. You remember the James Bond movies about the guy that built all the technology? I think it was Q or something like that.
Yeah.
The guy's name to build all the stuff, this super top secret stuff.
The gizmos and
James
gadgets.
Bond. And they were talking about they only used like $4 million in research and development in the Secret Service, and their budget is like off the chart. I don't know the exact.
It's $3 billion.
$3 billion.
$3 billion
a year.
And
Yeah.
and their research and development was really, really lacking.
That should
And
be top priority.
Now they said that they used to didn't have ever had funding problems until they dumped Secret Service in with Homeland Security, which means now they get to stick their hand in the money bucket, I guess. So, but still.
Well, and I also heard, and this is true, Secret Service, and I've worked with a lot of guys, and there are a lot of the field guys. They're great. They're super. And I work criminal cases with them. They'll do anything in the world for you. And good friends with a lot of them. They get out working criminal cases and stuff like that. And some of the guys I know, they work criminal cases. And then I would call them and say, "Hey, can you help me do this?" Well, I got to go to California and help do a protection detail. They pull and fill people out of North Carolina to go down with a protection detail in California.
See, that's crazy.
And he might be guarding a dumpster,
Yeah, definitely.
That might be his job that day is guarding a dumpster.
So it might be more of a manpower problem, like you say, than it is a particular we don't have enough money to hire people problem.
Right. It could be how they allocate their people.
Now, I did see where, we said they have a $3 million budget, and this year, $3 billion, I'm sorry. They also allocated them another $190 million on top of that this year for a shortfall. How in the hell are they spending this much money? I mean, I know they got a lot of people in there, but that dang, $3 billion is a lot of money.
How is that money allocated? Does it go to just paying their salary? Does it go to hiring?
It's got to be equipment and everything.
Well, let me ask you this, David. Let's say when H.W. Bush came to Kannapolis on his train trip, and local law enforcement were there to help, and they were brought into the briefings and stuff. Where does the money come from to pay local at that time?
At that time, it was all what the local did is funded by locals.
Really? So the Secret Service or the federal agencies doesn't pay local for
negative.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
And when I was in Belmont, it's the same way. Yeah. And that's with anybody. It doesn't matter who's in the presidency. It's say we're coming, and it puts stress on us too.
Yeah, financially and manpower and everything.
Yeah.
So I guess you're just getting your regular pay or regular overtime or whatever, and that's it. Nothing on top of that because we're not going to pay you.
There's no hazard pay or anything like that on that?
Negative. Mm-mm.
Really?
No. Yeah, it's just you may get overtime pay, or you may get comp time that you get to take off, or
there you go. Maybe that's
whatever.
why.
Back in when Bush came, we didn't have any overtime pay. It was just, hey, you had to work that day, dude.
Really?
Yeah.
You'd
That's
think
back in the old days,
That's
man.
why you got them lined up to work.
you'd think the feds would come in and supplement the income or the pay for the guys to come out and work so they wouldn't take away money from local law enforcement.
Yeah.
Because they have a budget
for this stuff.
But I can remember in Belmont, they came and we rode the route, and the Secret Service wanted some potholes paved.
Yeah.
And it was like, dude, that's a state-maintained street. We don't have an authority. You're going to have to contact the state. I remember that being the chief. And
wow.
I was riding with one of the advanced guys, and it was like, and, we had to take all the trash cans off the motorcade route that went in town, for bombs and stuff like that, what you would usually do. But it was like, and then it was like, can you get these potholes fixed? And it was like, it's a state-maintained DOT road, dude.
Well, good thing it didn't go to South Carolina.
You're going to have to call the governor, man.
Yeah. South Carolina would have been a nightmare if they went down there.
Yeah, but, he was just
right
checking his boxes,
Hey, that's smart.
But, it took, there, like when Bush came and then he went to Belmont, and then he went to Gastonia, to Gaston College. So it took every agency in the county working, and state agencies.
How close together was them trips? Was it like same day, next day?
Same day, yeah. It was from the airport
Holy moly.
to Belmont to Gaston College, and then back to the airport.
So that's a ton of people you'd have to secure all them areas at the same time on the same day.
Yeah, and the motorcade and
and just on and on and on.
SWAT teams, 3 different SWAT teams, helicopter from CMPD stuff. So
I can see you going through some money, yeah.
Yeah, there's no telling how much it costs for everybody,
Right. Plus, I'm sure on one end somebody's jacking up a lot of prices for stuff.
Yeah.
So, but what it does, it takes teamwork to do it.
Right.
And the key is whoever the person with the Secret Service is, it's over the site, like the site in Belmont, the site at the Gaston College, or the event and stuff like that, is working with the local police and developing that relationship to get all these tasks done that they need,
Mm-hmm.
Their Secret Service is gonna do their job. It don't matter crap what the local service people do, but they need us there to do certain tasks to make sure their mission is complete.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
So when, Donnie asked me the other day, what do you think? How does this work? Like Secret Service is it right at the point of whatever, and then does it go out? Does it go out and go down like the next level be the state guys, the next level the county guys, or is it just everybody come here and we'll tell you where to go?
Well, basically, the Secret Service is in charge, and then it's sort of like federal, state, and local.
So that's all together.
Yeah, I mean, we're at that day. We're all working off mutual aid agreements and stuff like that, and it's like in North Carolina. Usually, you got the North Carolina Highway Patrol. They lead the motorcade and their motorcycles. In Charlotte, certain people do certain things as pre-planned.
Yes.
And you always have these agreements in place, and these which departments have which assets.
It's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So, cause some departments, the only thing they can maybe give you is like 5 guys. To work maybe a traffic point or something.
Right.
And maybe the county police have a tactical team, and the Secret Service has to get all these people plugged into where they need them. So it's not an easy thing to do.
No, because you got to think about it, like you just said, taking all that stuff off the streets, and then you got to think about everywhere between wherever he starts and wherever he's going. They're stopping all the traffic, all intersections, everywhere. I tell you what, I was coming. My wife used to live in Wisconsin. I was up there once, and I was flying back here, and they were taking me to the airport in Chicago. I was going to catch a flight back, and they were driving back later. I had to go back to work or something. But anyway, we were coming through, and I about missed my flight because we were coming through Chicago on the interstate, and they had everything shut down because Obama was supposed to be driving through at some point. So they had everything just killed. I thought I was going to miss my flight, and I had several hours, plenty of time.
Mm-hmm.
It was sat there for a long time, and then they found out what was going on. And so it's a lot bigger than most people think.
Yeah, I can give you an example of when Bush came. I was in the motorcade and leaving the airport in Charlotte. We were coming to Belmont, And the communications center they had set up, the communication director called me on my radio and said, "Hey, we got a problem with something at a checkpoint in Belmont. Can you help me clear it up?" So I had to change over to my Belmont channel and make sure they had that thing changed up. So it was just that simple,
Right.
of having a contact person to get that problem cleared up right quick so that it didn't jam something up.
Simple communication. You would think, which now they might, I don't know, but you would think that at least the Secret Service guys would have one of everybody else's radio, even though you can't talk to them, they could still hear. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and sometimes that's available, but you have to remember is, like in Pennsylvania, is you got a former president and he's a candidate for president.
Yeah.
What assets did they allow him to have?
Right. Plus, they said that Jill Biden was doing a thing not far from it, I think in the same state, actually. So they had it split more for that.
Yeah.
I think that was like in a mall or something, or somewhere inside, an inside event, but not. So there you got it split again. So just, I guess, like you said, just depending on how many people's doing things on a certain day or certain times, how much, this is what we got. Split it up how you can.
Yeah. I don't know. It seems to me like there's several things going on. You got staffing, and then you got communication. And this communication thing, that's what gets me. You gotta radio into somebody else, and they've got a radio back out to the guys out there, the Secret Service.
It's like a match scene.
It
or
is.
something.
And then you brought up, and I've heard it on the news, text messaging. Now I can just see a guy sitting out there, "Hey BFF, LOL. There's a guy on the roof.
Might want to check it out."
LOL.
And that's kind of what it was. If you've seen the copy of the text
Yeah.
message, you might want to inform SS, let them know. Duh. Do you think?
Yeah, you don't even know if that got through.
Right. Exactly. And you're just I don't know. Was this just a county police officer
Right.
Joe, whoever, leaning up against the fence out here, just watching the thing, and then you look over your corner down here, and everybody's hopping around hollering.
Yeah.
Well, we was talking to him a while ago, but we couldn't find him. Had to get a hot dog.
Yeah. Bring the guy. Bring Trump on out. We don't know where he's at, but we'll keep an eye out.
So, the big question will be when the investigation is, setting the timeline. They know a timeline already. They're just not telling you.
No, for sure.
And my whole thing is, why didn't they block the line of sight
True.
to the podium? And why didn't they keep him in the holding area till they cleared it up?
Yeah, and both of those things would have done, or either or, never would have happened.
Yeah.
But
Exactly.
I'm not an expert. I just know a little bit.
Yeah, but you've been out there. You've worked and helped Secret Service with some of these.
You've done it.
Yeah, and you've been there when it was being worked. So you sort of have an idea of what's going on.
Firsthand.
Yeah, exactly. Especially being out there in the perimeter and in the
Seeing
trenches.
how it works. This is the part we want to know about.
Yeah.
I mean, we ain't trying to ask no
We can
Secret
watch
Service.
it. We can watch it on TV all day.
Right.
But until you get out there and do it like you have, David, we just don't have a feel for what it's like to be out there doing it. If that makes any sense.
Yeah, it's a team effort. It's a team sport,
Well,
Exactly.
It's got to be.
and and you have to put your feelings over in your pocket somewhere.
Mm-hmm. Where, yeah, get thick-skinned, huh?
That's it, dude.
Do your job. Yeah, the whole situation is just, I don't know. I hope there's some resolution to it, and they let us know sooner than later, because the time Trump was on the stage wasn't that long, so the timeline can't be that long. No,
and I mean it's not that complicated either.
Right.
No.
Which I guess the timeline probably start that morning, till
Yeah,
showtime, but
or
still.
2 weeks in
Or
advance.
2 weeks, yeah. Or maybe more.
Very true.
Then you got all the conspiracy stuff where they're saying
Oh yeah,
they let him get up there and let him get off a few shots before they shot him. That they was watching him the whole time.
And about if he had bomb making material in his vehicle there at the
Yeah.
site, and where did he get that from? And there's some talk going around about the stuff at his house, and you get this stuff out there, and you can go down rabbit holes.
Oh, yeah.
Can't dig any deeper.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, a man lost his life, a father lost his life, and two others got shot and was critically wounded. I mean, it's a pretty big deal, man.
It's terrifying.
It is. I can't imagine being there.
Because, you hear people all the time, I'm going to go to this rally, I'm going to go here, I'm going to go. And you never think about you might not come home from a rally.
I know.
Yeah. How many times have you went to some kind of event or something? Let's say, just say a sporting event or anything.
Outdoor concert.
Family
Anywhere.
or kids
Big
out,
crowds,
something. And just by the grace of God, nothing happened,
Yeah, and I've been to tons.
Look at the Las Vegas shooting. Guy
Yeah.
shooting from overhead.
Have a hotel room.
Yeah.
But if you got that high ground, you got the advantage.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I agree. Well, David, is there any last things you want to comment on the Trump attempted assassination and your views and your thoughts?
Well, I just have a problem with the line of sight issue and them not holding him when they knew that there was some type of threat, somebody out there.
Yeah.
I hope they come to a conclusion that we all can believe, and the people in the field of the Secret Service are really some good people. I know a lot of them personally. I've worked with them. They give you the shirt off their back. But, if you don't have the right people leading the agency, you can get on the wrong track.
Yeah, very quickly. Well, that's what I heard. They were saying that this lady was one of Michelle Obama's personal Secret Service agents, and when they were gone or whatever, and when they heard this job had come open, they pushed for her to get the job. I don't know if that's true, but that's what I heard.
Kimberly Cheadle.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So then they said, so maybe I wasn't the best pick, but it was just a buddy pick. I don't know.
Yeah.
But they said she was a great agent, but maybe not so much in administration. Which I did hear another agent who did it for a long time, and then kind of like did you. He did it for a long time, and then he got into something else. But he said that's all he ever wanted to do, and do this and be an agent. He never wanted to go to the building. He didn't want to go nowhere where all the red tape was. He just wanted to do his job.
Yeah, some people make good police, but some people don't make good police chiefs.
Correct. Correct. Everybody ain't cut out to do that.
That's it.
Yeah. Well, David, man, we sure appreciate you a whole big bunch, man.
Yeah, we got to have dinner again.
Yeah.
Hey, that's good. Hey, I appreciate it, guys. That's just that nutshell of raindrop of what I've been through.
Yeah, we'll definitely have you back on the show and talk about something else later on, man.
Yeah, it's really good.
Always here, guys. Enjoy the show.
But
hey, y'all have a good one.
All right, man. We sure appreciate you.
Thanks so much, and you can come on out of the closet.
All right.
All right, man. I come out. Maybe I'm going to get cussed out.
All right, bud. Have a good night, man.
I'll see you, bro.
Again, we want to thank David James for coming on the show.
Yes, we do.
Man, he's just a wealth of knowledge, and we want to have him back on again, talk about some other cases and some stuff he's done in his career.
Such a great guy, such a great friend of the show.
Yeah,
Man,
awesome. Awesome dude.
Awesome dude.
Yeah, we wanted to talk a little bit about the Trump assassination, the breakdown, how it works between Secret Service and local law enforcement, and how it goes and what their duties are, and the communications part of it, because that's pretty fascinating, and it's been in the news pretty recent, so that's what we want to talk about today.
Right, and not necessarily the Trump, but just the ins and outs of the whole deal.
Exactly.
How it works.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of goes in line with our our other outside the lines, but still tied to true crime and how it works.
Yeah.
Another piece on that, and
Yeah.
I think it'll be great.
Yeah, because it was definitely a crime, no doubt about it.
Yep.
There was a guy murdered and 2 other people critically wounded. So, yeah, it was a sad situation up there in Butler, Pennsylvania, man.
Definitely.
Yeah. But other than that, dude.
Yeah, what a great show.
Yeah, we're going to get out of here, bud.
All right, let's go.
We want everyone to be safe. Please be careful and always be aware of your surroundings.
Because the next episode could be about you.
This is
The Crack House Chronicles.